All right, people. What you guys are about to watch is from my Robert Greene interview I did a few years ago. So this one is about how to project strength and what you're doing that's causing people to try you. Because in life, it's not about how to fight people; it's how to prevent battles, how to prevent conflict, right? So we're gonna watch how to prevent people from trying to manipulate you, from trying to try you, and what you could do once people try to manipulate you. All right, so it's gonna come from Robert Greene, not just from me. All right, now if you guys enjoy this type of content, I have a Robert Greene book club where I break down all of Robert Greene's books in audiobook, and I break it down like we're in church, people. Yeah, that's right. It feels like I'm doing a church sermon when I'm doing those Robert Greene videos. So if you guys enjoy that type of content, click on the description down below and become a Robert Greene book club goer. People, join the congregation, or I'm closing the channel.
And it's because, like you said in your book, in the laws of human nature, is that the reason why most people don't do this is because they're selfish. They're thinking about themselves, about their own needs, and they don't know. And the reason why they're not unpredictable is not because they can't, or because they don't want to. They're too anxious. You know, like I remember in your book, The 33 Strategies of War, you said there are three laws of human nature. I remember before you came out with the laws of human nature, I had all your books on Kindle, and I was like, I need to read this book. So what I did is I went on Kindle and then just put laws of human nature in all of your books because you say that a lot. And so
Oh, I didn't know that. I
yeah,
didn't
you know
know
you do, yeah. And there
that.
was one, and so I found out a lot of laws of human nature with just doing that. And so one of the laws, you said that there are three of them in war, and when it comes to weakness, they were like, one, people are always sensing for weakness, right? Two, people cannot resist a weak target. And three, people are always sending either signs of weakness or strength, right? And so it's kind of like when you're so nice, even a good person will turn evil because you're so fucking easy. You're too
Right.
easy. I gotta use you. It's like even children.
Yeah. It's like people can sense that in you. And if they sense that someone is weak and insecure, it brings out the lion in them, the aggressor in them. They may not normally be aggressors, but it makes them want to take over, right? Here's a ripe target that I can use. And you'll notice in your life that nothing is actually this or that. Everything's kind of a mix of things.
Yes.
So for me personally, I'm a relatively aggressive person. I'm not the most aggressive, but I have that side of me. I'm competitive. So in front of some people, though, I can be extra competitive and extra aggressive because they make me feel that way. And then I go see somebody else who's much more aggressive than I am, and it makes me shy and timid, and I become a different person. How you think about yourself it causes the reaction in the other person, right? You don't realize how much you are responsible for how people treat you, how people look at you. If you come to them feeling strong and like you're in command, you elicit a moment of respect. And then they treat you a certain way. And the opposite happens when you show your weakness. So this shows you, and I talk a lot about it in human nature, about how be aware of how people are reading you. They're reading you constantly. And how you feel about yourself, what you project, will cause them to react a certain way.
And how do you communicate strength? I remember in one of your books you talked about lowering your nonverbals, right? But how do you communicate that strength from like first impression?
Well, it can't be completely faked. If you really are a deeply insecure person, it's going to come out. You can't conceal it.
Yeah.
It'll come out with little niggly comments, but oh, you didn't really like that. Oh, you don't like the way I'm dressed. Oh, blah 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 blah. It'll leak out in your face. You don't realize, I wrote in Laws of Human Nature that 95% of human communication is nonverbal.
Yeah.
And you're not aware of it yourself, but you yourself are always reading other people in this way. So if you're massively insecure, it'll show in your eyes. It'll show in your tense kind of smile, that kind of smile like that, right? It'll show in your body language. You can't really conceal it. So you have to go through a process of feeling confident about yourself. And that's not easy. I talk about it in all of my books. I say, act like a king to be treated like a king, you know, feel that you are worthy, understand, have a degree of self-love, and think that you are worth the things that you want in life and stop groveling so much and stand up and be strong and realize that you are an interesting person. You have unique things to contribute. And from a position of strength, then it's much more easy to project that. And then after that, you have to understand some basics. So I know on a podcast I have to talk a lot, but in general, talking a lot is a sign of weakness,
Yeah.
right? It shows that you can't control yourself, that you can't control your tongue. You just want to go on and on talking about this, that, and the other. It's a number one sign of insecurity, right? So the ability to be quiet, to be silent, to let the other person talk is a sign of inner strength, of confidence. And not only is it a good sign for you, letting the other person talk more allows you to learn more about them and their psychology so you can get out of your own little shell, right? And it makes you look like you're somebody who's empathetic because you're listening so much. So these are signals that reveal, a degree of inner confidence. In seduction, I have a chapter on charisma and charismatics.
Love that chapter.
Yeah. Well, I compare it to a charismatic is someone who has like a light bulb inside of them. And you don't see it because it's inside, but it lights them up from within. It lights up their eyes. It lights up their hand gestures. It lights up their posture, their words, and it makes you fall in love with them because it shows how strong and confident it is. We're attracted to people like that. So you have to some degree, feel this confidence. You can build it, you can amplify it. But if you're beginning from a position of massive insecurity, that's the number one put off.
Yeah, it's and it's very hard to see it. You think you're acting confident, but like it's very hard to see how others see you. Like even if you really try, it's you can't really get it unless you're looking back at yourself from many years.
No, you say things. You're obviously someone who has a lot of experience in this because you say a lot of wise things. So trying too hard, trying to act like you're confident when you're not really, people can see through that. They can see through your bravado. It doesn't really work. That's why I mean it has to come from at least a position of some kind of realness.
Yeah, that's why I would say the self is always coming through. No matter how hard you try, it'll always come through.
All right. I hope you guys enjoy that snippet. Click on the description down below. Become a Patreon supporter by joining the Robert Greene Book Club. And if you don't,